How you doing, YouTube? Matt with Massive Beer Reviews. Back with another review. Treehouse time. Treehouse IPA time in the form of their alter ego. Yeah, have not reviewed this yet. I have had this before, but it's been a while, and it's always been in kind of like shares and stuff like that, so get to actually sit down and drink this sucker on its own. That doesn't suck. What's on the can? Drink fresh, keep cold. Alter Ego India Pale Ale, 6.8% alcohol by volume. Brewed in Munson, Massachusetts by Treehouse Brewing Company. So, still don't have that Charlton on there. So maybe these are kind of older cans. I don't know. Anyway, does it really matter? On the side here, we have, we are excited that you're holding Treehouse Brewing Company's twin brother to Julius, Alter Ego. Alter Ego builds upon Julius with juicy citrus and tropical fruit flavors and aromas as a result of intense mosaic of Amarillo dry hop. Alter Ego is the result of our uncompromising dedication to fresh, progressive, and delightful beer. We hope you enjoy it with laughter, good cheer, and in the company of those you love. Let's see. Maybe that. Yeah. Date. This is September. That's the month. September 6th, 2017. Today is the 14th. So, there you go. A whole, not 8 days from canning. This actually can comes courtesy of Joel. I've actually, you know Joel. He's actually done a couple of reviews of mine. If you watch all my reviews, you know him. And, yeah, he dropped off a little 3-banger of beers the other day. Actually, yesterday. And, you know, I took my grand old time to crack in this fucker. A whole 24 hours. So there you go. Label-wise, didn't go over that. I love it. This Treehouse is just their label, you know, with the lettering going on. Instead of Julius, it's Alter Ego. So it's basically inverted. You know, instead of having the orange, you have the blue. Yada, yada. Same lettering, the whole nine. Anyway, index finger, just off weight head. Creaminess, tight, compact bubbles. Jeez. Got that haze for days. Rich, deep oranges. A little bit of yellow. Hazy. But that's the most hazy beer in the history of mankind, too. You can just barely make out a bit of light. I mean, the center is pretty dark because of the way the shape of the beer is, denser the beer, but you can leave a little bit of light through that sucker. Get a nose on her. Yeah, a little bit of bitter, a little bit of greenness, a little bit of fruitiness. You're talking about, you know, just, you know, stone fruit melons. That's pretty much what I'm getting right here. A little bit catty. Just a little bit catty going on in there, which is kind of good. I like that. So it's a little bit of green, a little bit of catty, a little bit of fruitiness. Nothing too crazy. Not a super over-the-top nose. Let's put it that way. See what it tastes like. Cheers. It's one of the more malt impactful beers I've had from Treehouse. I'm getting that bitterness. I'm getting a little bit of that cattiness. More bitter and cattiness than I am getting kind of fruit. Fruit is kind of there, but I do get a decent heaping helping of like a nutty kind of biscuity kind of fucking malt going on in there. It's not even just a malt, it's a fucking malt. Bittering leads the way. It tastes a little fatty, too. A little fatty, like, the mouthfeel is not necessarily this kind of soft kind of fluffiness. It's more got a bit of fattiness, a little density, a little butteriness. It doesn't taste like butter. It has that kind of fattiness to it. And I'm not getting a ton of citrus out of it, but I can definitely see where you'd be like, okay, there's some acidic kind of fruit in there. But it's more just tropical fruit for me, if anything else. A little bit of that peach, but more like tropical fruit medley. But it's all about that kind of green cattiness and a little bit of fattiness that really kind of separates it from a lot of the other Treehouse beers that I've had. Even that kind of malt that kind of is a little bit more readily apparent for me in this one. But yeah, fun beer. This is going to sound weird. This is actually one of my least favorite Treehouse beers I've had. Now, when I say that, putting up against beers that I really just think are absolutely fantastic across the board. This beer is absolutely fantastic, but just not as fantastical as the other ones I had. So if you're going by the colored, stickered can portion of the show, you know, I'm Team Julius. Followed it up with your greens and your reds or hazes and your saps and your and greens and all that in the world. And this is definitely coming up last for me. Again, absolutely delicious beer, but in the grand scheme of things, probably not my favorite of the bunch. Let's put it that way. Not even probably, definitely not my favorite out of that bunch. I guess you could say that core line. So let's talk about it. It's one of the better IPAs that I've had as of late. Actually, yeah, it's in the discussion. On the edge of it, outside looking in, and you're like, wait a minute, you just said it's the worst beer. No, that's the point I'm trying to make. It's not one of the worst beers I've had. It's just out of all the fantastical Treehouse beers that I have had, especially their core line, their colored can line, this is at the end. It's still better than what most people do, so there you go. Value and availability, I don't know. It was picked up for me and given to me, so maybe somebody can chime in. Their prices are usually, they do it by can, not by 4-pack, and they're usually not that shabby. You know what I mean? They're usually pretty reasonably priced for the way the market's valued at right now. Let's put it that way. Brewery only. And if you like what we like, if you like Treehouse beers, if you like that kind of fatty thing I'm talking about, I don't know if I'm coming across explaining it that well, but a lot of these kind of Treehouse beers and these really stellar New England style IPAs tend to come off very creamy, fluffy, and yet dense at the same time. This is a bit more flabby, a bit more fat to it. But it still has that nice kind of bitter, nice kind of green, a little bit of that cattiness that you usually covet in beers. So it's not there in spades, this kind of subtleness of it. But if you're into those kind of flavors, you'd definitely be in this. If you're into good beer, you'd like this, because you know what? This is good beer. Hey, how about that? So there you go. Another review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Down there, words and stuff you did or didn't. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Tapped, all those things. Massive beers. Plug them in, find me. And, yeah, there you go. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the review. Hopefully enjoying a nice Treehouse beer right now, and hope to see you next time. Cheers.